too busy following my journey or watching this video. Chances are you enjoy plants as much as I do. And part of enjoying plants is taking the odd or very frequent trip to the nursery or garden shop to have a look at what's on offer and what you might need or want to need or just feel like getting. What I want to do is chat to you about one of the things I always do when I look at getting new plants, like this one, which is a thornless blackberry, which I've been waiting a very long time to try and get my hands on. What I want to do is not buy one of these. I want to get as many as I possibly can from a single plant. And that's what I want to show you today, which you can take this principle and apply it to every single garden trip that you get to maximize what you get from each purchase. So we know when you go to the garden shop or the nursery, they tend to sell plants in 6-packs or pots, sometimes 4-packs. There are quite a few different variations. And usually what the nurseries do is they grow the plants in trays and then they pick them out and replant them to grow out in the trays. But ever so often they get the orders in, and those orders have been grown in tunnels by growers and they plant seeds directly into the trays, which means you need to look for those ones, because then what you're doing is not getting one plant in a cell, you're potentially getting 3 to 4, which means you're getting 3 to 4 times as many plants for exactly the same price. Simple things like leeks. If you are going to buy a 6-pack of leeks, have a look at which modules have the most leeks in each one and take that. Don't just take the first one. Same with onions. Count how many little onions you see in each module, tally them up and take the 6-pack with the most amount of onions in the module. Obviously you don't want to be buying things like root crops, because you're going to end up with a mangled mess, and as soon as you pull them apart you're probably going to break that taproot and you're just going to end up with no root crops. The same applies to the plant I showed you now, which is the thornless blackberry. Those are the bigger plants that you can get that are a little bit more established. What you want to do there is go down, look through every single one, pull the soil away from the base of the tree and have a look for multiple stems, or where they've got multiple plantings in the same pot. What we're going to do is we're going to take this thornless blackberry. I'm going to show you what I mean, and then what we're going to do is when we plant it, we're going to divide those out, and from one blackberry we are going to end up with 2, potentially 3. So now if we have a look at this blackberry, which has a few little blackberries on, which will be interesting to see if they mature. What I've done is I took every single plant that there was out and looked for ones that had a minimum of 2 stems. Here you can see 1, 2, spread them apart. That's just something that's busy holding it in place. So we'll remove that. You can see nice stem over here, another one over here, and if we follow this down and we move the soil a little bit, you'll see this one is forking out, so we'll definitely get a cutting out of here. But we have 2 plants and their stems are underground, and if we move them away we can see that there's a little bump over there which belongs to this one, and this one has roots over here. So all you need to do in the nursery is just spread the roots ever so slightly like that, and you'll be able to see that you have 2 plants over here, giving you basically double the value. So what we want to do now is we have our plant we've chosen with multiple stems that we can see go into the ground. We want to give the pot, before we plant it, a good squeeze on the sides just to loosen it up. Hold the plant nice and firm, pull it out, and then it should just slip out. If it doesn't, rather turn it upside down at the risk of snapping one of these young tender stems, and you'll immediately see nice thick roots. Turn it around, here's some white roots, and that means there's a lot of active, healthy growth in here. Now comes, depending on how you see it, the exciting or the scary part. If we have a look over here, you can see this is where it's busy connecting. So we need to start gently moving the soil apart. Gently just break it apart. You don't need to worry, these are super vigorous plants, so you're not going to do much damage. These top roots also aren't a major issue if you break them. You want to keep a lot of these if you possibly can. And let's just move as many of these as possible. And now, if I bring you in close, you'll see there's the join. There are very clearly roots coming out of that one. There are very clearly roots coming out of that one. Now what we want to do is we want to pull them, and they're not coming apart, which means they are completely attached. That's perfectly fine. We can see that they are sharing different root bases. So all we need to do is get a pair of scissors, cut them, and we will then separate out the two plants. I now have my scissor. All I'm going to do is come in the top, and I don't want to go obviously sideways like that, because then I could potentially cut that stem off. I want to go straight down in between these two. Do that, straight down, cut. This can be scary if you've not done it before, but if you've done it a few times, it's completely chilled. And then you'll see you can just pull them apart. Yeah. Now what you end up with is, you can see that the plant is cut over there, but it has a lot of roots all the way along this side. So this one, no issues, and this is quite a healthy plant. If you look at the other one, also cut, there's a pretty big root coming out that side, and they're coming out that side, and these are where the big roots are coming out from this one. So I used to have one, now I have two. So now that you know how to divide your plants that you buy from the nurseries to maximize your return on your investment, it's time to get planting. These types of thornless blackberries are perfect in urban food forests like this. They enjoy getting some cover, coming up wherever they need to in between all the plants. This is a natural ecosystem, no sprays, no nothing, natural pest control. But in the end, what you want is as many different plantings of the same thing in different places to create that variation. I now have 4 of these blackberry plants, which I'm going to use in a bed, but I'm also probably going to put one here somewhere just to add in even more variation in this food forest. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you now know how to look for plants in the nursery that you might not have known before, please share it so you can share this knowledge with other like-minded people and other people who enjoy going to the nursery, so that they can also maximize what they get. And also please consider subscribing, where I'll continue to be sharing information like this so we can all live more sustainably and try and do our bit to make a change. Until next time, happy shopping.